Caitlyn Smith.
Caitlyn, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm really good. It's good to see you
Same.
in this room. We see each other out sometimes, and I'm always like, I'm your biggest fan. You're always like, stop being creepy. We're friends.
No way.
Yeah. So Caitlyn's got a whole new album that's out, and some of the songs you may already know, but you've added a bunch of songs to it as well. And so you guys, it's up now. You're going to hear it perform, and you're going to go, I must get that album. And I already have a streaming service, but I must go and buy the album now. And then I must get an album also, like a CD, and you're going to have like 5 versions of it. That's how good it is.
It's on vinyl too. So
really?
Yes.
Do you sign all of those? Do you sign a lot of those?
I do.
It actually sells things.
I think
more.
people like to have that like physical, I don't know, memory. So.
I have that you gifted me. It's very nice. I have a framed picture of us and then a big lyric sheet that you wrote, and it sits in my house, and it's super cool. And I guess probably just because you wrote it with your own hand, unless you had like an assistant do it.
Nope, I did it.
She tells me now. Your songwriting is extremely honest and vulnerable. Do you ever feel at times when writing such personal songs, even if you're writing it for another artist to cut, that not that you're revealing too much, but that it could be a little too vulnerable, or maybe not even vulnerable, but you're being so specific that it may not resonate? Does that conversation ever happen in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of that is running through my head, especially dancing on that line of vulnerability. And it's like, how much is overshare? How do we paint it where it feels like this is emotion that everybody has? But I think sometimes in the specificity of it, I think people can really relate to those really small moments of intimate details.
And I feel like there's a trend, and maybe now it's a little bit more than a trend, of people getting extremely specific. And I like that because I don't have to match the exact thing you're saying, but I have something in my life that's a version of that.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, I wore my white sneakers and my mismatched socks. And I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't do that, but I have that version as well.
Totally.
And so I really like that about how you write and kind of about how songwriting is happening now. Have you noticed an effort to be more we'll just say specific about certain elements when writing?
I think so. It also depends on what the topic is. And I mean, there's a line in one of the songs on this second half of the record. It's a song called Alaska. And the opening line in it is, I'm terrified we'll end up like my parents, together but alone. And it's like, it's such a vulnerable, scary thing to say out loud. But I remember saying it in the writing room and being like, you know what? I'm not the only one that feels this way. I think about my grandparents. I think about like their, like people have this, people feel this feeling. And so, I don't know. I always try to dance in that world of like almost uncomfortable, but not too much.
Same. I wrote a line, I have IBS. I'm living with all this stress on my stomach.
Yeah. I relate.
And that, and I felt like somebody else got to be living this too.
Someone's got to be living
Somebody's
that.
got to be understanding this. High was a song that you wrote with Miley, and it was originally on her album. So what's the rule there? Is it fair game to cut it after it's released by the artist? Do you have a conversation about that?
Yeah, once it's released one time, anybody and their mom can record the song, and so it's like
I guess you're right, because people
anyone
cover
can
songs.
People cover songs all the time, and so I always consider it like, okay, that artist recorded it, that's great, and then I can do the songwriter version over here, and so
I guess it feels different because you wrote it.
Yeah,
because I didn't think about that. Anybody can do a cover of anything.
Yeah, totally.
But because you wrote it, it feels like it's a different version of it.
It's like the one, I don't know. When I think of the version that I released of High, and when I had written it, I heard it like the way that I produced it, with big gospel choirs and like, this just kind of big, massive sound. And so it was fun to hear Miley's version. And, she's got like a loop in the background, and it's very, very different than I imagined it. So it was kind of fun to then take the song and make it how I heard it in my head originally.
Yeah, Lauren McKenna, with a lot of the songs that she had written and other artists turned into huge songs, to hear her do that, with the Burn the Rifle, I think is what the name of the album was. Yep. Maybe a little off on a word there. But, she did the same thing, and it's like, oh, that's how she actually imagines it as it was being written to performed. Yeah, I never thought about it like that it can just be a cover. But it's just weird that you wrote it.
It is.
It's like covering you.
It is. It's Kate covers Kate.
How did that write with Miley come together?
Well, High actually, I wrote with my friend Jen DeSilvio, and the song then kind of got passed through different email chains, ended up in the hands of Mark Ronson, who was working with Miley on her last project. And And so Mark played the song for her. She fell in love with it. She changed it up a little bit to fit her story and put it on the record. But then since then, I've gotten to get in the writing room with her, which has been such a treat.
That's cool.
She's an incredible artist and an incredible writer. So I've got a song on her most recent record called Island, and I'm just a big Miley fan, so it's so fun.
Me too. I think Miley's awesome.
She's incredible.
You have a song called Writing Songs and Raising Babies. How do you balance being a mom and an artist?
Great question. Depends on the day. Some days I feel like I've got this, and some days I'm like, I'm failing.
At what? Both?
I'm
One or the other?
Both.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and so it's a constant juggle every day of making sure that, okay, I'm doing the things that I need to check off on my list for my job, but then also when I get home, really just putting my phone down and focusing some connection time with my kids. And I bring them on the road sometimes if the tour runs are long, and that's a total circus, but it's worth it to me to have them along. So.
And I know you wrote the song I'm about to talk about here, but I didn't see you in the credits for the performance. Is there any chance that you're doing the background vocals on Every Girl in This Town with Trisha? Because it sounds just like you.
That is me.
It is you?
Yes.
Wow.
Which is totally crazy. She was the first concert I ever saw in my life. And so when she cut the song, it was like this crazy full circle moment. But then I remember I was like all the way pregnant in there, like singing background vocals. And I'm like, this is the craziest moment of my life. Like,
do you sound different if you're all the way pregnant? Or is it just a wind thing?
I think it's just a wind thing. Like we definitely had to like punch like some of the breaths. Like it's just harder to get all the notes out. But
I saw you sing the national anthem at a Packers game.
Yes.
So walk me through that, because there's a lot of people there. It's probably cold or coldish. I don't know what the temperature was that night. And, with the anthem, it's awesome to do it because you love the country, but it's like being a referee. If you do the most perfect, amazing version ever, nobody really says anything except, hey, good job. Because you're just expected to do it.
Right.
But if you mess up one little thing, one tiny thing, you're all over the internet.
can't.
It is yes.
You can't.
So talk to me about singing in a stadium with that many people, the national anthem. And are you just going, just don't mess this up?
I am going, don't mess this up. And the thing with the Packers game was, it was like the first show at Lambeau that season, and there was a flyover too. So I'm also thinking about, you have to get a certain time so that
But how do you
can't
do
go
that?
too slow. You just have to stay consistent of how you always do the pacing, and don't embellish too much. And it's just a lot of practice.
Oh man,
I
that
don't
would
know,
be.
but
And
it's
the home
nerve-wracking.
of. You don't even
So
hear the
crazy.
break.
You know what's nuts is a month later I got to do the Thanksgiving game for the Minnesota Vikings, and that one was televised to just 25 million people. and I'm from Minnesota, so it's my home stadium. And the most nerve-wracking thing was like they wait to come back from commercial, but then they silence the entire stadium first. So I'm sitting in like 15 seconds of dead silence where everybody's like in the stadium's looking. I was like, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Do you have to do the thing too
This
where
is
it's
insane.
like, so you're on?
Yeah, I'm literally going like so I get the note and don't forget.
And is the
I'm
anthem?
like Rain Man.
Yeah, I feel like the anthem too is if you start and you're not starting really low, because that song goes so
Yes.
high that you can get lost,
Exactly.
and so you have to start. Oh, because it go.
You have to get down there.
Or you just you don't have to worry about that.
I definitely worry about it. I definitely worry about starting too high because you don't want to botch the big notes, right?
And
So-
if you start higher, then you have to go even higher
Yeah.
later on at a
And
note
the
that's already
rockets
really
are
high.
glad.
That'd be me. My ears are red. My head's about to pop.
You're really squeezing those butt cheeks.
How
You're
old
like,
were you
"Ah,
the
try
first
to-"
time you did the anthem? Was it like a kid thing? Were you like 9, 10?
So I grew up behind a baseball field, and they always had baseball games going on, like high school and college, and I would run over there and I would run up to the box and I'd say, hey. I think I was probably 8 years old. I was like, hey, can I sing the anthem? And they're like, do you know it? And I was like, yep. And then they would just let me do it. And so that would be like my thing. And the announcer ended up being an announcer for like the Minnesota Timberwolves and like some other bigger sports. So then I started doing it as a little
The
kid.
announcer at a baseball stadium?
The announcer at my tiny little town baseball stadium was also an announcer at for the Timberwolves.
Wow.
So then I was like singing the anthem as like a 9-year-old at Timberwolves games. So
That's pretty cool. Our announcer
was
was like
cute.
pastor
Right.
at Mountain Pine Baptist. That's it. I mean,
That's amazing.
so I saw a picture of you taking a shot with George Strait and Vince Vaughn on the Instagram. How did that all
Weirdest moment of my life.
Yeah, what was that? How'd that come
Bizarre.
together?
That was so crazy. So I've had the honor of getting to share the stage with George over the last couple of years. He's really been such a champion. And so he does this residency in Vegas. And so Vince Vaughn is a big George fan. He happened to be there. And he also happened to be there to catch my set as well. And so I ran into him backstage. I was like, what's going on? And we talked for a minute, and then people just kind of ushered us into the shot room, and we're like, okay, we're doing a shot with George Strait.
There's a shot room. That's what I hear.
The shot area or
Shot
whatever.
room.
The
Wow.
shot room.
When you're with somebody who's
crazy.
famous, and this is a struggle that I have, and you want a picture, but you don't want to ask for a picture because then it makes it all weird because then you're the
Yeah.
picture asker and they don't treat you the same because they may have been treating you
Right.
like a peer at first. What's your move to make that happen?
Oh, usually someone on my team is really good about orchestrating it. Like, oh, hey, you guys, let's get a picture of you guys, and it's way less awkward when it comes from someone else.
Yeah.
So I always be like, hey, help me get a picture with. I do the ask of someone else, so it's less weird.
It's a cool picture of you guys. And I know you're doing with George Strait, you're playing as his main support. That's also just cool, right?
So crazy. It's so cool. I mean, he is the king, and he's just a master class in songwriting and choosing songs in an amazing career. And so being able to watch the king, I'm just crying in my tequila the whole time. It's pretty incredible.
The new album, High and Low, it is out right now. It's Caitlyn Smith in studio with us. And every time you come in, I'm like, dang, Caitlyn's real good. I forgot. I just see her as the person I really like. And then it's just so good.
Thank you.
It's just so good. I don't know what else to
Thank you,
say.
Mikey.
I want to let you guys know that Caitlyn's playing all these shows and you can go watch. And by the way, she spells her name with a Y, right? So
Yes.
my wife spells it with an I. Some spell it with a K. I'm just going to spell it for you because there's a lot of ways here.
Yes.
If you go to CaitlinSmith.com or to her socials, but it's CAITLYN Smith.com, there are all these dates that you're playing shows up until June, and it's really cool, venues for people to hear you do just that.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And with this tour, I'm doing it as a one-woman show, and so it's just me and a guitar and my piano and the stories. And so it's an intimate experience. And we started in Texas last week, and it was so fun. So it's a really special night.
I want you guys to go watch Caitlyn. I want you to check out High and Low, the whole album, and then. Man, that song, it's so good. I don't even know what to say. What do I say now?
Nothing.
Nothing? Bye? Just
Bye.
can't get any better?
And I find out I got nominated for an ACM, you guys.
Wait, because
new
I didn't do
female
that.
artist.
So I didn't do that category. I didn't
found
even
out.
know who won or who was in it. So
Well,
wait,
I'm in it. Wow.
Yeah.
hold on.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
That's a huge deal.
So pumped.
Okay, so to our audience right now, I'm going to be honest with you. We recorded this on Friday, and this is airing on Monday. And we had just finished, and live we did the ACM nominations for a lot of the categories on the show. And there were a couple that we didn't do because they wanted Amazon Music to do a few of them as well. So I'm getting text people going, who was nominated for Best New Male? I was like, I have no idea. We did the other. I just found out that Caitlyn got nominated for an ACM.
Yeah!
Wow!
Awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
Thanks,
It's like
guys.
the greatest day
it's
ever.
the best day ever. So happy.
Well, there you
Now
go.
I feel like, when you walked in earlier, we all should have been like, oh my gosh, congratulations.
didn't have that
So that's
envelope.
why.
It's all good, y'all.
I'm not anymore in my tux anymore. I would have kept it on for her.
Oh, no.
Dang. All right, Caitlyn Smith, go watch her. Oh, we'll be watching for at the ACMs. We're going to listen to your music. That's all. I got nothing else to say except holy crap. All right, Caitlyn Smith, everybody, go follow her on socials, get tickets, and listen to the album. And Caitlyn, we will see you very soon.
Thank you,
All right,
Bobby.
Caitlyn Smith,
Thank you.
everybody.
It's a